Legal method is one of the first legal courses that is offered in almost all the nations of the world. It is also one of the easiest courses one could ever encounter in his journey of becoming a lawyer. However, being the first legal course that is offered by students who just passed through his secondary school or high college, it becomes very difficult for them to really understand what the course is really all about, as well as approach to read and understand this course. At the end of this video, I'm going to give you step-by-step approaches you are going to use to read and understand legal method so that you make your A. This is a very big course because it is the foundational course that lays a solid background for all law students. If you didn't get it right in your legal method, you will find it difficult to navigate through the challenges that is going to come your way. So in this video, I'm going to tell you everything you have to know about legal method. Stay tuned to this video because you are going to learn a lot. Hello, welcome to King's Advocate Network, where we discuss the society and the law. This is a specific channel that is dedicated towards answering all your questions that concerns law. So in case you are just joining for the first time, it is a channel that is specifically for you, and I encourage you to follow this channel up because you are going to see everything that has to do with law posted on this very YouTube channel. Having said that, we don't have much time to waste today because we have a very important topic to discuss today, and the purpose of this is to set you into all the rudiments of legal method as well as the meaning and definitions of law. And the first question is, what is legal method? When you hear legal method, what basically comes to your mind in your own typical understanding? What do you think is legal method? Because it is the first subject, what do you think is legal method? Let us now see what legal method. First of all, I want you to understand that legal method is made up of two words. Do you understand? Legal method is made up of two words. And for us to understand this legal method, this phrase legal method, I want us to consider it word by word. So now let us go with the word legal. Then after we'll take the meaning of method before we can combine two of them. The reason for doing this is because I want you to understand. Without you understanding, you will not be able to even cram. And most often when you cram, there are situations where your attention you will be in the hall. My dear, you will forget yourself, like you become so confused. So the only way that you are going to build yourself as a solid student of law is for you to understand. Because when you understand, you will find it easy to navigate through the challenges you might face in the hall. Something can happen to you and you will not be able to recall. So the only way you can write in your own way, translate that idea in your brain into your own words is by you understanding this. So that's why I want to break it down, and we are going with the word now, legal. So what is legal? The word legal is an adjective which connects to anything pertaining to law or something connected with law. Do you get? The word legal is an adjective which connects to law or connects to anything pertaining to law. Do you understand? So whenever you hear legal, it simply means things that has to do with law. That is what this thing is saying. So legal is basically has to do with law. Now, since I know the meaning of legal, let us now consider the meaning of method so that we can relate the two well and see the overall meaning of it. So the word method in its ordinary meaning, according to Oxford Learner's Dictionary, simply means a way of doing something or the quality of being well planned and organized. Do we see? So method simply means a way or pattern of doing something. Method simply means a way or pattern of doing a particular thing. Don't forget we say that legal has to do with anything that concerns law. So let us bring these two words together now to have the overall meaning of what legal method is all about. Hope you are following this lecture video. So legal method can therefore be defined as an attempt to explain or analyze the technique of thinking like a lawyer. In other words, it is learning to study the use and construction of legal rules with a view to gaining insight into how law is planned and organized to achieve its objective in a society. Do we get that? So we can now see that legal method simply means a way of training us to think like a lawyer. That is the simplest meaning. So I want you to take this home now. Whenever you hear legal method, we have said that legal has to do with law, number one. We have said that method has to do with methodology, and methodology simply means a way or format of doing a particular thing. Whenever you hear the word methodology, it simply refers to pattern of doing a particular thing. Do you get? That is what it simply means. So when you connect these two words, it will give you that legal method simply means a way of learning how to think like a lawyer. That is in its simplest definition. So you can say that legal method simply means a way of training a student of law, all that is involved in the atmosphere or in the rudiment of legal scene. Do you understand? So legal method will teach you everything you have to know. In fact, it is in legal method that we gain the knowledge of to think like a lawyer. It is in legal method you see the logic. So let us now consider the importance of legal method, because by considering this importance, it will give us an overview of what legal method means. See, we have understood in its clearest definition of what it means. Now, let us consider the overall importance of legal method. The essence of doing this is basically to help you to understand more about legal method. So you cannot claim to study law when you have not know what legal method is all about. You cannot claim to go into the definition of law, because legal method, the definition of law is embodied in legal method as well as the theories of law. So now, let us now see the various importance of legal method, so we can then move from there to our definitions of law and all the authorities you need to know in law, because there are many authorities. Like beat me, you will see authorities, various authors. But let's just get into the definitions of what legal method means. So when talking about the importance of legal method, actually, the importance of legal method cannot be overemphasized. It cannot be described, because the role of legal method to every law student is so enormous. But for the purpose of this video, we shall itemize some of them and explain some of them to your own basic understanding. So, number one importance of legal method is that it helps us to understand the language of the law. That is number one importance of legal method. It helps us to understand the knowledge of the law. So what legal method does for us is that it opens our eyes to understand the language of the law. And I hope you remember, or I hope you know, that every particular field of life has their own language. In medicine, they have their own language. If you have a person, or either your dad or your mother or your siblings is studying law, is studying medicine rather, you will see the language the person will be speaking will be different from your own in actual professional sense. So those in field of medicine have their own language. And for me now, I could remember during my time in secondary school, I detested biology back then, because biology was giving me a language that is ordinary, different from what I understand as a human being. I'm not used to it, and even up to today, I'm not used to it. So also somebody in the field of science will also not appreciate whatever we are saying here, because we have our own language. And I'm trying to be explanatory here. If you try to use the technical words, because as you begin to go in this field of law, you'll see that there are some certain words you will use, an ordinary human being will not understand it. An average man in the street will not understand it. They will be like, what are you saying? You are just speaking English for me, but you may use one Latin maxim and people will be thrown off balance. That is to tell you that every field of life has their own language. The field of engineering has their own language. The field of medicine have their own language. So also in the field of law, we have our own language. And the only course that prepare you to understand this language is nothing but legal method. You will not be taught the language of law in law of contracts. You will not be taught the language of law in constitutional law. You will not be taught the language of law in legal system, because legal system is an advanced method of legal method. It depends on the institution you find yourself. It depends on the structure. Most of the time, legal method is done in your first year. Most of the time, it is done alongside with legal system and even probably contract law. It depends on the structure of your own institution. However, one thing is clear: legal method is a first year course in majority of university. So that is just it. Now we see that the one important element or one important aspect of legal system method is that it helps us to understand the language of the law. Do you get? I hope you are following this lecture video. Then let us consider the number two importance of legal method. The number two importance of legal method is that it helps us to think like a lawyer. Legal method helps you to think like a what? A lawyer. Yes, it helps you to think like a lawyer. It's not the way an average man in the street thinks, it's the way a lawyer thinks. As you begin to grow in this journey, you will see that your level of reasoning Your faculty of reasoning, let me put it that way, will begin to change. Everything about you will begin to change. That's why most often they will begin to say, you have started to know how to lie. You have started to know how to make arguments here and there because you are studying law. It's not because you are just start doing it for doing sake or just doing it to show off. No, you are starting, like, the thing is, the whole idea is sinking inside you and inside your whole system, that you are now thinking like a reasonable somebody. You are no longer thinking on basis of emotion and sentiment. See, let me tell you, lawyers don't think on basis of emotions. A good characteristics of a lawyer is that they don't think based on emotion. Emotion has to do with how I feel. No, a lawyer think based on logic. So you have to think, how does this flow? You say that this happened here and this happened here. What is the connection between these two things? That is what differentiates a sharp lawyer from a dull lawyer. If you are a dull lawyer, it basically means you are not thinking. You didn't learn your legal method very well. Because if you know your onions very well in the field of legal method and some other topics and subjects or courses in legal field, you will understand that your faculty of reasoning, your level of understanding will definitely change from that of an average man. You begin to think reasonably because part of the curriculum of legal system also imbibes or also flows with logic. So logic is another aspect of studies in legal method that will help to train you, to let you understand that whatever you are doing, you have to think logically, because that is the only way you can win your argument for your client. And apart from, even if you not be a practicing lawyer, you still need that logic to sign some certain document presented before you. You not just without thinking, without reasoning, what is behind this document, you endorse it. At the end, you'll be held liable for it. So that is what legal method does for us. It helps us to change our thinking from the average man in the street, to change our thinking from that common man in the society. It will change our mind so that we begin to reason like a learned man. That's why they call us learned gentlemen. But for now, we are still learning. We are not learned yet. So the journey is still going. So third reasons or importance of legal method is that it lays a foundation upon which other course is built. It lays a foundation upon which other course is built. So legal method is a foundational course, like I say during the opening of this lecture video. Legal method is a foundational course. What it does for you is that it will lay the foundation upon which other courses will be built on. So you cannot understand the workings of law of contract very well without understanding legal method. So also you cannot understand the workings of constitutional or the intricacies surrounding constitutional law without first of all understanding legal method. Because it is legal method you will be teach the various terminologies that are used in law of contracts, in constitutional law and some other courses. So legal method is the foundation, and of course, just like in engineering field or in the field of building, you cannot just start laying block on the male ground without digging the foundations. No, legal method is a foundational course. It helps to manure us so that we'll be able to understand other courses when we'll be introduced to it. Then let us consider the fourth element. The fourth element or the fourth importance of legal method is that it helps us to understand the logics of the law. It helps us to understand the logic of the law. Basically, you have to understand that law flows with logic. You get? Laws flow with element of logic and experience. So law is not just built on a hypothetical ground. Law has to do with logic. That you say that this thing is this way, you say that this thing is this way. How does it emanate to be that way? Like, law is just a principles of logic. Everything in law is a principle of logic. The method will introduce you to these dynamisms of logic that are surrounding law, so that you understand the premises upon which every assertion is made. Because he who asserts must prove, section 131 of Evidence Act. Whenever you assert that this exists, you must prove that assertion on the principles of logic. So you don't just assert and adduce evidence that doesn't flow with logic. Even the judge will be like, what is wrong with you? Are you okay? So that is what legal method does to us. It helps us to understand. It helps us to understand basically the logics of the law. Now, we have succeeded in this video in treating everything as regards to the definitions of legal method. But what about the meaning and characteristics of law and the functions of law? Because legal method is just a byproduct Legal method is just there to explain the law. Legal method is not the law. You're coming into school or you're studying of law is not just here to do legal method. Legal method, like we say, has to do with anything pertaining to law. Now, what about the meaning of law? So to see the meaning of law and to see the various definitions of law, I have a video dedicated for that because I cannot include all of them in this very video, unless it will be long like Melchizedek in terms of spelling. So we have just decided to demarcate that video from this one. If you want to see the 5 major definition of law by various jurists and authors that you can use to bamboozle your lecturer in the examination hall, I encourage you to click this video above. This video is going to direct you to everything you have to know concerning the meaning of law. It defines law in a way that you will never forget it. So I encourage you to go and check that video because that video has a solution to your problem. And we will continue to grow in this channel. Always remember to subscribe to this channel, share it to your growth group so that all of us will learn together.